Your country needs oil, so your country needs dollars. So your country needs America's approval. 3 sentences. That's it. That's the entire global power structure explained. But here's what happens to countries that try to change that. Saddam Hussein tried. 3 years later, America invaded. Gaddafi tried. 2 years later, he was dead. This isn't coincidence. This is consequence. And to understand why, you need to understand the deal that made the dollar untouchable, made in a desert in 1974 between 2 men in private. This is that story. To understand what happened, you need to understand what came before. After World War II, the world needed a new financial system. Everything was destroyed. Currencies were worthless. Trust was gone. So in 1944, in a small hotel in New Hampshire, representatives from 44 countries met. Bretton Woods, they called it. The deal they made was simple. Every currency in the world would be tied to the dollar, and every dollar would be backed by gold. $35 per ounce. Fixed. This made sense. America had most of the world's gold reserves. America was the only major economy not bombed into rubble. The dollar was the most trustworthy currency on earth, so countries held dollars because dollars meant gold, and gold meant real value. The system worked for about 25 years. Then America made a mistake, a very expensive mistake, called Vietnam. The Vietnam War cost America a fortune. To pay for it, America printed more dollars than it had gold to back them. Other countries noticed. France noticed especially. French President de Gaulle looked at his dollar reserves, looked at the gold they were supposed to represent, and did the maths. The maths didn't work, so France did something extraordinary. They sent a battleship to New York, literally. A French warship sailed into New York Harbor with one mission: to exchange their dollars for the gold they were legally entitled to. Other countries started doing the same. Britain tried to exchange $3 billion for gold. America couldn't pay. On August 15th, 1971, a Sunday evening, Nixon appeared on television and told the world dollars can no longer be exchanged for gold. The gold standard was over. Just like that. No vote, no international agreement, one Sunday night broadcast, and suddenly, every dollar in every country in the world was backed by absolutely nothing. The dollar should have collapsed. Every economist expected it to, but it didn't, because Henry Kissinger had a plan. Henry Kissinger was America's Secretary of State. In 1974, he flew to Saudi Arabia. Not for diplomacy, not for peace talks, for a deal. The most consequential deal in modern financial history that almost nobody knows about. Here's what was offered. America would protect Saudi Arabia, militarily, completely. The most powerful military on earth would guarantee the Saudi royal family stayed in power forever. In return, Saudi Arabia would do 2 things. 1, they would only sell their oil in US dollars, not pounds, not francs, not gold, dollars only. 2, they would take any surplus dollars they earned and invest them in US government bonds, lending the money back to America. Saudi Arabia agreed. Then Kissinger did it again with every other OPEC nation, and suddenly, every country on earth that needed oil, which was every country, needed dollars first. The dollar was no longer backed by gold, it was backed by oil, and oil ran the world. Let me show you how this works in practice. Japan needs oil. Japan calls Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia says that'll be $2 billion in dollars. Japan doesn't have enough dollars, so Japan has to earn some first. How does Japan earn dollars? By selling things to America. Cars, electronics, whatever. America buys Japanese goods. Japan gets dollars. Japan buys oil. Oil flows to Japan. Dollars flow back to oil-producing countries. Oil-producing countries invest those dollars in America. America gets the money back. America sits at the center of this wheel. Every rotation of the wheel benefits America. Here's the extraordinary part. America can print dollars. Nobody else can. So when America needs to buy oil, it prints money. When Japan needs to buy oil, it has to actually produce something real first. America trades paper for real goods and real energy. Every other country trades real goods and real energy for paper. Economists call this exorbitant privilege. The rest of the world calls it something else. Now here's where it gets dark. What happens to countries that try to break the system? Saddam Hussein, 2000. Iraq announces it will sell its oil in euros, not dollars, euros. 3 years later, America invades Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction, they said. None were found. But Iraq's oil sales switched back to dollars the moment Saddam fell. Muammar Gaddafi, 2009. Libya's leader proposes a new African currency. backed by gold, to replace the dollar for oil trading across Africa. He called it the gold dinar. 2 years later, NATO intervention. Gaddafi removed from power, killed. The gold dinar died with him, Iran. Iran stopped accepting dollars for oil sales. Result? Some of the most severe economic sanctions in history. Currency collapsed. Inflation hit 40%. Economy devastated. The pattern is consistent. Challenge the petrodollar. Face consequences. This isn't conspiracy theory. These are documented facts. The timing is not coincidental. But something is changing. In 2022, Saudi Arabia publicly discussed accepting Chinese yuan for oil. For the first time in 50 years, the kingdom that started the petrodollar system was considering leaving it. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are building alternative payment systems specifically to bypass the dollar. Russia, cut off from the dollar system after invading Ukraine, started trading oil with India and China in their own currencies. China is building what they call the Petrodollar, oil contracts priced in Chinese currency. The system is not dead, not even close. The dollar still represents 58% of global reserves, but it was 85% in 1977. The direction is clear, and here's why this matters to you personally. The reason America can run $33 trillion in debt in more than any country in history and not collapse is the petrodollar. Every country needs dollars, so they keep buying them, so America can keep printing them, so America can keep spending on its military, on its healthcare, on its standard of living, funded by the rest of the world, involuntarily. If that ends, America's cost of living rises dramatically, interest rates spike, the national debt becomes actually unpayable. The American lifestyle, cheap imports, cheap debt, global military presence, all of it rests on this one 1974 deal. One deal made in a desert that the world never voted on. That's still running your life today.